Hi everyone! I am finally getting around to recording that video that I promised you for earlier in the week. Thank you for being patient with me. I know you've anxiously been awaiting my answer about Adam and Eve. I am here now, so let's get started. To begin with, we received a question as part of our I've Always Wondered sermon series that runs through September. And the question asked how it's possible for Adam and Eve to have reproduced and populated the earth all on their own. Well, please don't be shocked, but Adam and Eve is just a story, as are so many stories in the Bible. They're just stories and explanations for events that could not be explained back during the time that the Bible was written. Don't get me wrong, there are actual historical truths and historical characters and stories in the Bible, but some of the stories in the Bible are just that, stories to explain and to teach us lessons. We can find some Christian perspectives that will try to argue the opposite as what I believe, that Adam and Eve did exist and did populate the earth all on their own. But the truth is, scientists have proven that it is biologically, mathematically, and genetically impossible for only two individuals, two people that belong to a complex, multicellular, sexually reproducing animal species. It's not possible for them to give rise and let alone maintain a genetically healthy population that consists of billions of descendants without going extinct due to genetic defects and birth defects caused by massive inbreeding over time. And as we know, and as science has shown and history has shown, inbreeding is not safe for the human population. It's actually quite dangerous. It leads to birth defects, a lot of issues, and it could actually lead to the extinction of the human population. So it's really just not possible for Adam and Eve to have populated the earth all on their own due to inbreeding for the most part. And evolutionarily speaking, there's no such thing as the first human or the first humans, the first male or the first female. And as weird as it may sound, there never is or was a first of any species. There never will be, because we use the phrase the first actually as a way to help us grasp onto an idea of when a species evolved. And that's all just based on different fossils that have been found throughout geological time. However, evolution is so slow and it's such an immensely gradual process. It's one that we do not see with the bare eye. It's not one that we see in the moment when it's happening because it is so slow and gradual. Every individual of every generation in any and every population of every species was, is, and will always be an unnoticeably modified version of what its parents were. That is how slow evolution often is. Scientists can't pinpoint the exact moment that human beings existed. We know that they evolved over time, but we can't point to the one human that was the first human, the first male, the first female. I want you to know that this doesn't make the Adam and Eve story or God any less significant, let alone the Bible. Those are all obviously very important components of our Christian faith. The story of Adam and Eve is a nice story and a nice description of God's care in creating our planet. And it answered questions at a time when we didn't have, or the people who wrote the Bible didn't have answers. However, I believe that science and all the details of evolution and creation itself are far more fascinating than the story of Adam and Eve. The vast details of God's creation, from the smallest and tiniest organism to the estimated 2 trillion galaxies that are believed to exist, those speak far greater to God's beauty, creation, and the detail of God's creation than any story that may be confined to any one or two belief systems. So, this is what I mean when I say that God's story is constantly evolving. And maybe I should clarify and say our understanding of God is constantly evolving. The more we learn about the details that make up our planet, our galaxy, our universe, and all the galaxies out there, the more that we learn about how these systems are continuing to evolve, how we're continuing to evolve, the more we can see the intricacies of God and how God allows our story and the universe's story and God's own story to continue to evolve. So when you have a chance, jump on a microscope and look at the tiny microorganisms that make up this earth, that make up our own bodies, and be in wonder and awe of them, because they really are so complex. Look at the photographs that are being sent back from so many of these telescopes that we've sent out, and just how vast our universe is, and wonder how it's even possible, and know that it's God's hand. And it's so much bigger than an Adam and Eve story. It's so much bigger than a creation story. And how amazing is it that we live in a time that we can actually see these things and know who's had a hand in creating them. Evolution doesn't have to stand alone. It can stand in our faith and point us even more towards an amazing and powerful God. I hope that you'll turn into our service tomorrow for more answers to your I've always wondered questions. But for now, keep cool and have a good night.